And we are live. Sorry for the little bit of silence, but I had to make sure I started both streams at the same time. I started 6:49, 20 seconds early for Facebook, and then about 5 seconds early for YouTube. So normally I just start talking as soon as we go live on YouTube, but it was 5 seconds early. So I made you wait and acknowledge the awkward 5 seconds of silence, and then boom, 6:50 I'm talking. We're right on time tonight, so that's usually good for us. So welcome to our Once Upon a Time marathon, as usual. We are coming to the end of February, and it was around March when we started trying to build the idea of this marathon, and we didn't start till April. And so we're coming across some year marks here. There was some posts of Once Upon a Time I started making actually a year ago in February. So it's been a year since those posts started. I started talking about Once Upon a Time because it's been a while since I've seen it. Haven't really watched it after my mission, right? And so about a year ago, I posted about the show, and then I talked about doing a marathon, but it wasn't till March that we decided to do a public one. So it hasn't been quite the year anniversary of this idea. But it's coming close, and it will happen during our 6th season. Even if I didn't get sick, I didn't go on a date with a girl, or even if I what's the third reason? Oh, the cruise. Even if those weeks were not skipped, um the 1 year anniversary, all our year marks would have been in season 6, except for the exact first Sunday that we started, season 1, episodes 1 through 3. That anniversary would have been on the first 3 episodes of season 7, which is cool because season 7 is like a reboot, it's like a reset. And so what cool way to celebrate the anniversary than to feel like we start all over, right? Even though it's not really starting all over. Anyway, however, that kind of got messed up because I got sick and stuff. And so we will still be in season 6 by the time we hit our 1 year anniversary of this marathon. But yeah, it's crazy how much time flies, right? We are still, tonight, we're still in season 5. Tonight we're going to finish not the underworld arc, but we're going to finish our time in the underworld. Not to spoil too much, but Hades does eventually come to Earth and try to take over the world during the last couple episodes. So tonight will be our last time in the life after death, but we're still going to be dealing with Hades in the real world next week. So it's like not the end of the underworld arc, but kind of the Neverland. It's the same thing with the Neverland arc, how we had 9 episodes in Neverland, and then Peter Pan came to Storybrooke, the real world, for 2 episodes. We spent 3 weeks in Neverland and 1 week in Storybrooke. That's what the underworld is. So anyway, we're spending our 9 episodes in the Neverland. So this is episodes 7, 8, and 9 for the underworld. We're wrapping up pretty much our time in the underworld itself, but the underworld arc will wrap up actually next week. Normally, if it weren't for the cruise, on the other hand, we could have finished the arc tonight, but nope. The cruise delayed us back another week. If I wasn't sick or had went on a date with a girl, we'd be in season 6 by now, but that's okay because any cancellation is kind of a blessing. That means the marathon's going to go longer than planned. So, we don't have to rush to the end and be done and miss this time together. And so we get to cherish every moment when we sometimes skip weeks and stuff. And so anyway, I'm so excited because tonight, how in the again, not trying to spoil too much, but characters that we're going to see tonight: Red Riding Hood, Dorothy, and Mulan. Now, Dorothy, we've seen just a couple episodes ago. Actually, last week we saw Dorothy. She came back as a full-grown adult to fight against the Wicked Witch who was trying to steal the Scarecrow's brain. As far as Mulan and what's her name, Red Riding Hood, Ruby, we saw them in the Camelot arc when they were trying to help Merida become queen. And so we're going to see them back again. But not in Merida, not in Dumbrook where Merida is queen, or not in the Camelot this time. Yeah, obviously, right? Red just barely showed up in the underworld at the end of last episode of last week, at the end of not last night, but last Sunday's night. Red just showed up in the underworld. So Red's in the underworld, Dorothy's in Oz, Mulan's in Oz, and Red is trying to get back to her. Anyway, so yes, we got a little love going on in that episode as well, so that'll be fun. Then after we finish that episode, we're gonna be watching my favorite episode of season 5. So you remember how I said I was so upset how they brought Cora, the Queen of Hearts, into Once Upon a Time, but then they killed her off before the Wicked Witch, which is her daughter. So mother and daughter never met, not even the actresses. They were never on the show at the same time. But now, to in the underworld, this is when they finally get to see each other for the first time, like both actresses and in the characters. And so anyway, I feel nostalgic. I feel so loved and being like, finally, I'm getting the confrontation I always wanted. When you get to take a journey in life after death, you get to see there's a lot of possibilities of seeing people that already died, and finally, like even when we first went to the underworld, they brought Cora for an episode, but then we haven't really seen her in the underworld since that first episode in the underworld. And so I was like upset because then the Wicked Witch came back after we sent her back to Oz for 5 episodes. She came back. And I'm like, where's Cora? She was in the underworld just recently. Where is she? Well, now she finally comes back and plays in this tonight's episode. And so anyway, so we're gonna get Cora and Zelina making up mother and daughter, relationship. She's gonna apologize for why she abandoned Zelina, and it's gonna finally become. But on the other hand, we're gonna get something very, very violent. Charming and his twin brother. They've been teasing about them finally meeting, and even Koala says it's gonna be one heck of a reunion. When they finally meet and they have grudges against each other, one twin brother against another. Anyway, we're going to get two brothers fighting against each other. It's going to be interesting. Sibling rivalries. We got two sisters and two brothers. So any sibling rivalry can turn into a war. That's what I said in my post and trailers. So we will conclude. So on our third episode for tonight, we will conclude with a journey back home. But in order to escape the underworld, the characters must enter the most dangerous place in heck, or hell, I just don't like saying that word too much. But anyway, it's good, it's not as bad as I'm making it sound, but they have to do something very dangerous in order to leave the underworld and go back to this world, mortality. So anyway, so it'll be interesting. And by the end of our third episode tonight, when we wrap up our live stream, they will be back in the real world. The episode ends with them going through the portal, like literally. So there won't be much underworld after tonight, but we're still dealing with underworld problems next week when Hades actually they failed to defeat him in the underworld, so he comes back in the in the world above, which is this world, the one we're in right now. And anyway, it's gonna be fun. But yes, I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to actually finishing this arc next week because oh man, um, uh, well, as much as half season arcs are focusing on one storyline, season 6 is going to be very chaotic, and even though that's sometimes bad, I'd much prefer the half season arcs. Season 6 still has some very good episodes I really want to get to, so we'll finish. The sooner we finish season 5, the better. Anyway, so sad it couldn't be this week, sad it couldn't be last week or the week before, but we will finish season 5 next week. Until then, we're going to enjoy tonight's episodes of Once Upon a Time, 6:58. So I will get you guys ready. I do have my headphones. Remember when I used to have blue headphones? Unfortunately, I don't know where they are. Now I just have like 2 sets of headphones with they all have broken earbuds on them. So here's one. Let's see if I can find the other one. Here's 2. The earbuds broke off. Well, there's the other earbud is still on, and it's the one that actually works, so that's fine for us. These ones are not broken, so I'm gonna use these ones. Okay, I'm like, I only have 3 sets of headphones here, and I'm like, I used to have blue ones that I wanted to use because I'm tired of just broken cords. But anyway, never mind about the blue ones because we got these ones. But we're gonna start the show now. Anyway, oh boy, these are all tangled though. That's the problem. These are tangled. Like that's one problem here. Okay. Hang on. Whoa. I missed the hole. Hang on. There we go. I got my headphones in. I don't care if they're tangled. Ignore that if it shows up on the screen. Let's see. All right. So our timestamp is 43 minutes and 44 seconds. And so if you have Disney Plus, and you better be ready now because I'm going to start in like, oh, it just changed. I was going to say 1 minute, but now it's 7 o'clock. So I'm going to start any second. So either pause the live stream if you're not ready, or if you are, season 5, episode 18, Ruby Slippers. 43 minutes, 44 seconds. But if you don't have Disney Plus, just make sure you have not played a single thing, not even the recap. All right. So I'm gonna start a countdown. Remember, some people mistakenly push play when I say one. There's wait until I say now or zero. So anyway, so we're all starting at the same time. Commentary aligning with the show. Um, I'm very bad at giving behind the scenes. Because as we get into the later seasons, I guess I don't know as much as far as behind the scenes go. But we're gonna talk about the show as we go. Either way, whether it's actually about the episode or about the cast. All right, ready? Three, two, one, now. Oh, I see what the problem is. Only one earbud works, and I put in the wrong one. So they just found Red in the underworld, and they want to know what's going on. Wicked Witch came back, obviously, had a romance with Hades. They threw Gaston into the River of Lost Souls, and so yeah, here we are. I might switch headphones because these ones, even when I hear it, it's still somewhat quiet. But anyway, so Red Riding Hood is sleeping at Snow's apartment right now, and they're waiting for her to wake up. We jump sometime in the past when Red Riding Hood and Mulan are in Oz. Somehow they went from Camelot to Oz. I don't know how they got to Oz. I don't know where they got their magic bean. But again, it's not really a plot hole. Even though magic beans are rare to come by, you could, make a deal with Blackbeard, or he's not in Camelot though. I don't know. It's not, not every single thing in flashback gets explained. You just gotta accept it for what it is. Man, I miss Red Riding Hood and Storybrooke. They should, too bad. Ruby was a series regular for season 2, and then they kicked her back off as a guest starring role after that. And so I'm like, too bad they didn't keep her around as one of the main characters. We could have used more wolves when we went to Neverland. The wolf could have killed Peter Pan. We could have had a wolf. Well, she is kind of going against the Wicked Witch right now. Let's see. How would a wolf do with the Snow Queen? I don't know. Queens of Darkness would probably try to defeat her because that's a team of villains right there. 1 against 3. Red doesn't stand a chance. I mean, we did see her fight against Arthur, so anyway, yeah, I love our Ruby. I miss her. Can't believe she left Storybrooke. Dorothy and Red Riding Hood are becoming friends, and it's kind of going off on the wrong foot, but not too bad. Um, you lost my dog, and you helped enough. I don't want your help. And Dorothy is like has her bow and arrow threatening Ruby, and I'm like, no, I'm a wolf, but I can. But you don't need to be scared of me. Man, how did she get her costume back too? Because when we saw her leave Storybrooke, she had normal real world clothes on. How did she get her fairy tale outfit back on? She doesn't have magic. She just turns into a wolf. Oh, look at the Wicked Witch, all alone in her underworld cabin. It's just waiting for her to die and move in, but we will not. Our Wicked Witch will never die. Hades is coming to warn the Wicked Witch that she has friends from Oz. And yep. And obviously the Wicked Witch did something bad to the to Dorothy, Red, and Mulan, and she doesn't want Red to tell Wicked Witch was just starting to become a hero, and she doesn't want the heroes to find out what she did in Oz. Easier said than done. It's hard to leave the underworld. Believe me, we already saved Hook like 2 Sundays ago. We would have been long gone by now if it was easy to leave the underworld. Yeah, easier said than done, according to Hades. Yep. Well, actually, he's part of the problem. You put everyone's name on a tombstone. I mean, it's still hard, but it wouldn't be as hard if everyone was not on a tombstone. It's kind of funny. You don't need to be dead to go to the underworld. You could just be marked on a grave, even if you're alive, and then be stuck down there. And nothing grows here. It decays. Look at that dead flower he's giving the wicked witch. That's like dead love right there. Oh, and a purple tie. How nice. The wicked witch is choosing the right here. She's choosing not to work with the devil, even though Hades is offering a deal, help her with this Red Riding Hood wolf problem. And the Wicked Witch is like, no, Hades, no, I'll never join you. Good job, Wicked Witch. Despite your sins possibly coming to the surface, you're standing up against Hades still. Belle and Robin are still I mean, Belle and Rumple are still trying to get over the fact that they accidentally killed Gaston instead of helping him move on. Fortunately, he couldn't go to a better place because he's a monster. He had to go to a worse place. Worse than heck. Mhm. Yeah, Belle even though Belle accidentally killed Gaston, she doesn't, she's kind of upset that she darkened her heart or something, and, I think even if you accidentally kill someone, that doesn't darken your heart, not if it was an accident, you're not evil. But Belle is worried about making another mistake, and so she doesn't wanna work with Rumple because she might do something else that she regrets. So Dorothy went to face the Wicked Witch. Before the Wicked Witch came to the underworld, Dorothy went to face the Wicked Witch, and she disappeared, and Red Riding Hood has no idea what happened to her. Um, so Red Riding Hood chased her to the underworld to get Dorothy back or something. And now see, this is what the Wicked Witch was worried about. She was worried that Red Riding Hood was gonna tell all her friends and which kinda ruins her redemption arc, the fact that she just made a few sins right before coming here. But, again, she can still be forgiven if she doesn't if she doesn't give in to these mistakes and repent, right? Yep, Snort's gonna be a hero. It's the telephone booth. So Cruella de Vil is ripping out the phone booth. Remember last week when Snow and Charming wanted to talk to their son, and the only way to do that from life after death is to talk through a telephone booth? Um, okay, in real life, you can't call someone in from the spirit world, but um, how this works is that you don't actually call them; they just hear your voices through the phone. So that would be cool if that was a real life thing. Um, but anyway, who knows? Maybe there are telephone booths in the spirit world. I don't know. That's kind of old fashioned, though. The fact that we have cell phones now. I don't think I've seen any of those on the streets anymore. And plus, it's better to call someone for free rather than use a quarter. I even never used a telephone booth. I wouldn't even know how to use one because I've been born in the 21st century. So, yeah, anyway, Quill's ripping it out so no one can call their loved ones, and so that's kinda hey, and it's not just Cruella, it's not because Henry's not writing her back to life, it's mainly because, it was an order from Hades. Hades is trying to lose hope because he thinks there's too much hope in the underworld, hope for people to move on to a better heaven, and so for Hades being the devil that he is, he's trying to make it less hopeful by destroying things like the phone booth that talk to loved ones. And then again, the Wicked Witch was about to escape back to Oz or whatever, and the Regina stopped her right in her tracks. Right before she could use the slippers to go click your heels 3 times. Right, she clicked it about 2 times before Regina stopped her from transporting. So now in this flashback, this is right after the Wicked Witch. This is right at the end of the Camelot arc, right after the Wicked Witch gets transported back to Oz by Regina. Remember, this is her first landing back to Oz, and we're getting a flashback of what she did in Oz before she ended up in the underworld. And all the Wicked Witch wants is her baby back. So she decided to steal Toto, the Dorothy's dog, and threaten her to be like, "If you don't give me those ruby slippers, I will kill your dog," whatever. So they have until, like, sundown to give her the ruby slippers so that she can go back to her baby. And well, that's funny, Red Riding Hood did not leave until after the Wicked Witch first came to Storybrooke, so she kinda knows the Wicked Witch, very well, and Red Riding Hood, when knowing that she got banished to Oz by a tornado, Red was like, "I bet my friends had good reason for sending you here because you're too much trouble in Storybrooke." So even Red Riding Hood is catching on who the Wicked Witch is and why she's here. So yeah, so now the Wicked Witch in present day underworld is showing that Dorothy is under a sleeping curse, and she doesn't have anyone that loves her, so they have no way of waking her up. True love's kiss is the only way to break that sleeping curse. Yep, exactly. The Wicked Witch is way too smart. She's so smart that she put someone under a sleeping curse that's never fallen in love with anybody, so they can't have true love's kiss. Hmm. This is funny. Shh. So Regina just said, "Look, you made a terrible sin, a terrible mistake, but just because you made one bad move, one bad mistake, one bad sin, or 30, doesn't mean you can repent and come back." So anyway, she still believes in trying to give her sister redemption even after the 30 mistakes, you know? Uh um molesting Robin Hood, putting Dorothy under a sleeping curse, let's see, banishing Glinda. I don't know. Not all these villain mistakes are recorded on camera, but they probably done a lot worse that wouldn't be family friendly if we saw it. So I mean, so yeah. Anyway, but you can come back from anything. Nothing's there's nothing too bad that you can't repent of. So. So Regina convinced the Wicked Witch to give her the silver slippers, and that's what Snow White and Red Riding Hood might use to get back to Dorothy and Oz. Oh, but yeah, they need True Love's kiss, and there's no one to give her True Love's kiss, so they have to find someone in the underworld that loves her. So Red Riding Hood kind of talked with Dorothy for a time, and if you've seen the Wizard of Oz movie, she does have an Aunt M. Aunt M is who loved her before her tornado swept her to Oz, right? Remember her from the classic Wizard of Oz? She had an aunt that she was living with. You kinda meet her before she sings "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," and then she goes to Oz, and then we see her at the end of the movie. So she does have an aunt that she loves. I don't know what happened to Dorothy's parents, but she has an aunt that she loves. So therefore, we could get a true love's kiss from the aunt. Simple enough, but the plot's not that simple. You don't just get true love's kiss from the aunt and wake Dorothy up. Obviously, there's going to be complication. Otherwise, this episode would be too easy or too simple. So Mulan and Red Riding Hood are just getting to know each other through the flashback. I like Red Riding Hood because she's wearing red. Dorothy's blue. I like red better than blue. Red's my favorite color. And red is part of Red Riding Hood's name. Notice that her name is Red Riding Hood, and then you have Robin Hood. They have the same last like name almost, but that's not the real name because remember Robin used to be Robin of Locksley, and he changed it to Robin Hood just so that Rumple wouldn't notice him after he double crossed him. And then Red Riding Hood, I think it's just Red. The Red Riding Hood is just a nickname. It's funny how they both have the word hood in it. And they also have other names. I mean, Robin Hood, you just call him Robin. Robin, he kept the first name. But Red, you call her Ruby. Ruby, like Ruby slippers in Oz, the ruby slippers that Dorothy wears. Her curse name is Ruby. I don't know if the writers did that on purpose to reference Oz in season one, but when they gave her curse name, but who knows? Maybe maybe it was an accident or just or more than that. Maybe it was more than maybe it was just a coincidence. I don't know. That's just kind of funny. Red Riding Hood does have connections to Oz now, especially now that she's met Dorothy. She has physical connections, not just object connections or name connections. She has human connection now. Maybe love is in the air. This is actually Once Upon a Time's first attempt at lesbian. They usually, mostly in everything's just male and female here, but like they did to respect all communities, including lesbian, gay, and stuff. There no one's gay in Once Upon a Time, but like to try to respect more communities out there, and to try to to incorporate um uh love um and to allow even lesbian people to watch the show. You could kind of see a romance developing here between Little Red Riding Hood and Dorothy. So they found her aunt's gravestone, and it's not cracked, so she didn't go to a worse place. It's not knocked over, so she didn't go to a better place. That means she's still here. If the stone is face up, do you remember the three settings? So she's still here because her stone's up. So they're thinking by giving a true love's kiss from Aunt Am to Dorothy will dissolve her unfinished business and cause her to go to a better place. They might save Aunt M's life and help her go to a better heaven if they get true love's kiss from her. So yeah, they might help someone move on by getting true love's kiss. So obviously, she can't leave the underworld because obviously she's dead, but she can put it I don't know, she could put a kiss inside a bottle or something. Once upon a time's weird here, you could do weird things like kisses. Remember when the blind witch took a breath of Charming as part of a deal? It's kind of funny. With Once Upon a Time's literal weirdness, you could put a true love's kiss on in a bottle and take it to Dorothy. Yeah, yeah. So their plan is because Snow and Charming now can't talk to their baby because of Koella destroying the phone booth. So they want Snow and Charming to go back to the real world because Emma's like, "You done enough. You helped me save Hook. Hook's already saved. We're just trying to find a way home now. So if you can get home first, then good for you. You don't need to stay in the underworld with us." And so they want back to the real world. But, they forgot one little detail. Hades put Snow White's name on a tombstone, so yeah, so anyway, with Snow White's name on a Charming's isn't, but with Snow White's name on a tombstone, only one of them can go back to see their child, and so it's like you can't have both the Charmings, you can't have both your parents. Neil gonna have to settle with just one. So, but first they gotta get a kiss from Aunt Em, and then they can use the Ruler's slippers, go to Oz, and after True Love's kiss breaks the spell, then whoever goes back can go to the real world, and be with Neil. The Wicked Witch has admitted she'll never get her happy ending. She's giving up because every time she tries to be good, it backfires. Well, trials are part of life. Accept that. Drinking with the bookworm because Belle reads books. Get it? Drinking with the bookworm. That's kind of funny. She's a bookworm. She's a worm, a little worm in a book. Just kidding. Yeah, Belle's pregnant, so she can't drink. She has to have water. You shouldn't drink at all. But, for anyone who does, definitely not when you're pregnant. Yeah, do you remember Emma Swan sped up, the Wicked Witch's pregnancy? And so, having brought that back up, Belle just realized Hades can do the same thing, speed up Belle's pregnancy. So yeah, Belle thought she had time on her hands because being pregnant takes 9 to 10 months. And so yeah, she thought she had 9 months on her hand, but nope. Because with magic, your pregnancy can last just about 5 minutes. Once you find out you're pregnant, the baby's born. Just kidding. Or maybe the baby's born before you find out you're pregnant. Because it usually takes a while before a girl finds out they're pregnant. Yeah, Charmin and Snow are fighting about who should go back to be with their son, and so yes, who gets to go back, Snow or Charming? But yes, Belle is trying to think of a way to save her baby, but not let Hades speed up her pregnancy. Hook is trying to comfort Charming while he's trying to convince Snow while he's trying to debate whether he should go back or Snow. Hook is trying to convince Charming to go back and see her and take care of their son because Charming's name is not on the tombstone. And so anyway, Charming, you stop arguing about Snow White. If there can only be, I mean, if you really think about it, if you could only have one parent, who would it be? Your mom or dad? I mean, it's hard to choose because you love them equally, right? Um, the mom is probably the one who gave birth to you, so I could easily choose mom, not because I love her more, but like, but she did give birth to me. The dad just kind of helped. That's not fair, but because boys can't get pregnant. But anyway, but in this scenario, I would choose the mom because the mom's well, no, the mom's name is on the tombstone. Never mind. I would probably choose the dad because the dad's not on a tombstone. But anyway, yeah. But like, and when you're not in life after death, when you're not in the underworld, I don't know. Maybe I'd choose my mom because she gave birth to me. And sometimes you have those children who say they're a mommy's boy or a daddy's girl. Or daddy's boy or mommy's girl. And so anyway, sometimes you are more transparent to one parent than to I don't know. But yeah, technically I love mine equally, so don't let that confuse you. But I think it should be Snow White, but for this, and I know what actually happens. I know who actually goes back and leaves the underworld first, but I'm not spoiling for anyone new watching the show. Um But yeah, obviously you might think Charming's the one who will go back because his name's not on a tombstone. Red Riding Hood just turned into a wolf. Flying monkeys are coming to capture Red or Dorothy, and the Wicked Witch, or Dorothy. Wicked Witch is coming to capture Dorothy and force her to give her the ruby slippers. But Red Riding Hood is not going to let that happen, so she turns into a wolf. Dorothy learns to trust her, and they gallop away as as Dorothy rides on a wolf. The wolf could eat me. So the wolf can eat me. I don't trust that. I would never ride on top of a wolf because you never know when they're gonna turn their back on you. Oh, yep. And obviously, Red gave Dorothy the instructions on how to turn her back into a human. Just throw the cloak on her. Dorothy kind of freaked out a little bit, and Red feels bad because that's the first time she's ever seen a wolf. That's not trying to kill her, probably. So Dorothy's just gonna rest on it because she's kind of scared, and Red feels bad. Red's walking into her own diner that she hasn't been to since season 3, but it's not the right diner. It's the underworld version. No dogs allowed. You don't say that in my diner, Red. And then the blind witch is like, it's not yours, not yet. You're not dead. It's not your diner. But that's cool to know that when Red Riding Hood dies, there's a diner waiting for her. Who's to say that? Because like some of these characters, Neil, skip the underworld because they have no unfinished business. They go straight to heaven. So how do you know? The whole Snow White's apartment, waiting for Snow and Charming to die, right? Or the Granny's diner, waiting for Red Riding Hood to die, or Granny. Um, Emma's house, waiting for Emma to die to live in it. How do you know any of these characters are going to go to the underworld? What if they have no unfinished business? Then technically, the underworld just saved those houses for nothing, right? They found okay, so they found Aunt M, and she actually works at another restaurant. She's the competition of Granny's. Which restaurant's better, Aunt M's restaurant or Granny's? Which one's better? Which restaurant's better? It's a competition in the underworld. Obviously, I would choose Granny's, and I think these heroes would too. But the only reason they're not doing that is because they need Aunt M to give True Love's kiss, so they obviously went to this restaurant to get her True Love's kiss. Unfortunately, blowing a kiss into the bottle didn't work. Aunt M turned into water. I think she drunk some water and from the river of lost souls. It's not that if you fall in the river you become lost, but if you touch the water at all, like if a sip of it drops on you, you automatically fall into the river of lost souls. You can't touch the water even if it's out of the river. So I think Hades put a little river of lost soul water into her drink or something, and caused her to turn to go to a worse place in the river of lost souls. So I mean, that's kind of sad. Hades is a villain, treacherous villain who killed Aunt M. Now, I mean, she's already dead, but she destroyed Aunt M and put her in the river of lost souls. So now there's no one to give Dorothy true love's kiss. And look, God, so Hades can touch the water because he can't be lost. Too bad he is. I wish he was mortal, then he could be easily defeated by pushing him into the water. But anyway, he just squeezed all that water into a bottle, and he says, "This is what happens when you help these so-called heroes." And he's like, "Who's next?" And no one wants to nope, no one wants to go to the river of lost souls. No one wants to be punished by the god of the underworld. And so as Hades just said, it's hard to be, with Emma Swan being the savior, right? It's hard to be a savior when no one wants you to save them. That is the true fact, right? It's hard to be a savior when no one wants you to save them. Mulan and Red are talking about having a heart to heart conversation, and they're discussing love, and the possibility of Red Riding Hood loving Dorothy, but it's hard to know if Dorothy loves her back because she's never seen a wolf before. I've been mostly talking and haven't been hearing too much. I just know what goes on in the episode because I haven't memorized, but yeah, like I said, the sound is pretty low. I can hear it, but, like, it's pretty low, so I think I'm gonna switch headphones. But anyway, the episode's still playing, so, I'm not gonna pause it or anything, so don't mess yourself up by pausing it. But anyway, Mulan and Red are just continue talking. They're talking about love. Yeah, yeah, Dorothy may not be scared of the wolf. Maybe she just doesn't know what to say about it because, she's kinda shocked and surprised for seeing it the first time. See, Mulan learned the hard way. She waited till it was too late. We were gonna almost have a lesbian relationship with Mulan and Aurora, remember? But Aurora already married Prince Philip before Mulan could express her feelings towards her. So, and then Mulan had to suffer a broken heart till Merida came into her life. So, you know what I mean? Mulan learned, when it comes to people you love, don't wait until it's too late to tell someone you love them. And so, Red Riding Hood taking Mulan's advice not to, wait until it's too late, unless you want to be as heartbroken as Mulan was. You should tell Dorothy that you love her right now. Unfortunately, Dorothy, when Red went to go tell Dorothy, Dorothy went missing. So I guess the Wicked Witch caught her, and I guess it was too late after all. I don't like these headphones. Where's the third one? Okay, so these are the ones I'm wearing right now are the only ones that have no broken cord, but oh, they're right here. I was like, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch, but Snow White right now is convincing Red that I think she loves Dorothy. Why are you standing here, Red? Why aren't you on the way to Oz? If you love Dorothy, you can give her true love's kiss. Okay, this one's way better, even though there's a broken headphone on this side. Two of these have cords like this, and one of them does. I mostly wear just one earbud anyway, instead of two. So yeah. So Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood's never been scared before. Love is scary. Yep. When you love someone, sometimes it's easier to say goodbye knowing that you'll see them again. Yeah, when she met Charming, she hit him in the face. Oh, look at Aunt Em. Her grave is cracked. That means she went to a worse place. How sad. She didn't even deserve that. So far we've seen people fall into the river of lost souls or go somewhere worse because they were villains. But this one was not a villain. Hades just tortured her to a worse place. Some people don't get fair judgment. Luckily, in real life, the devil's not our judge, right? They will defeat Hades eventually. Life for life. Remember when this has happened in once upon a time before. Remember sometimes what Snow had to learn is to save her mother, she had to kill someone else. It's a life for a life. If you want to stop someone from dying, you have to kill someone else in return. So in the underworld, it's just like that. Remember when Hook was captured by Hades? Remember when Hook was captured by Hades? He had to erase the names off the tombstone. He had to write some names on the tombstone to force his friends to stay in the underworld. Hades refused, but Hook refused, but Hades enchanted his hook so that he would carve names. So since Hook has the power to carve names on tombstones, he actually crossed out Snow White's name and wrote David so that David would stay in the underworld and Snow wouldn't. Because if you had to choose between a mother and father, I guess the mother deserves it, the child, more than the father does. So they switched places. So, so now David's trapped in the underworld and Snow is not. So there you go. And they know they will always find each other, and they love each other enough to know that this separation is only temporary. So Snow's gonna go back to the real world. She's gonna go back to the land of the living, and she's gonna take care of Storbrick while the others face Hades in the underworld. 3 clicks away from leaving the underworld. Bye, Ruby. Bye, Snow White. We will not see Snow White for the rest of the night. Bye bye. Bye bye. Anyway, so yes, Hook used his carving hook to write David's name on top of Snow's. So now it's David, Emma, and Regina that are trapped in the underworld. Oh, Hades is gonna throw Aunt M in the river of lost souls. Don't do it. The Wicked Witch came down to talk to Hades. How funny. Wow, the Wicked Witch is I'm surprised. The Wicked Witch is trying to redeem herself, and she shows pleasure as Hades dumps the remains of Aunt M into the river of lost souls. You should be mourning, and you should be upset with you should be upset with what they did to Aunt M and your friends and your family. So yes, the Wicked Witch put Dorothy under a sleeping curse. Kidnapped her and put her under a sleeping curse. And no one's able to wake Dorothy up now because Hades destroyed Aunt M. So Hades, he could be lying here, but he says, "What do you want most of all? Other than your happiness? Nothing." Hades is claiming that the only thing he wants is the Wicked Witch's happiness. Does he really love her like that? I don't think so. This is like a devil tactic. He probably wants something else, and he's hiding it. Oh wow, Hades is toasting to Dorothy's eternal slumber. How evil! And the Wicked Witch is joining him in the toast. Wow, come on. What about your redemption arc? You want to team up with Hades? That's like teaming up with the devil himself. Toto smells something fishy. It's Snow White and Red. It's Snow White and Red. Hey, Snow hasn't seen Mulan since season 2, I don't think, right? Because even though Mulan showed up in season 3, he was only with Bellfire. And then when we didn't see Mulan in season 4 at all. But in season 5, Mulan was only with Merida and Red Riding Hood, as everyone else was somewhere else in Camelot. So I'm like, Mulan and Snow White haven't been face to face since season 2. So Red Riding Hood is going to try True Love's kiss to wake Dorothy up. Because obviously Aunt Emma is sadly gone to a very tormented darkness of outer darkness, heck, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of sad. At least Red Riding Hood is still there to give true love. Wake, Dor- wake Dorothy up. Yeah. Uh-huh. So for anyone for anyone who might be lesbian out there, they did this for you. Dorothy and Red Riding Hood. I don't ship this couple, but I mean, everyone's a child of God, and I respect everyone, even if I don't take pleasure in the decisions they make sometimes. when I was a kid and this first came out, I looked away because I didn't want to see them kiss. It felt very uncomfortable to me, but I do respect everyone, even if even no matter who they are, whether they're lesbian or gay. I love everyone as a child of God. So Red and Dorothy, we will not. So, in case you're uncomfortable, Red and Dorothy will never see again. This was just a one episode standoff. In fact, Red doesn't even make a later appearance after tonight, after this episode. Mulan doesn't either. Dorothy, I think I'm not sure if she makes another appearance or not. Maybe in season 6, but definitely not season 7. Henry wrote it. Henry's the author. He wrote that Red Riding Hood came and gave Dorothy True Love's kiss. So, wow, Henry's writing the stories. He's recording history, just like Isaac used to do before he started changing things. So, there you go. Happy ending for Red Riding Hood and Dorothy and Snow, who went back to Storybrooke. Charming's like grateful for, yeah. Charming's grateful for his grandson to not let him know that Snow White made it back home, and now let's see if we could join them. Let's leave this underworld once and for all, hopefully, in a couple episodes. So I forgot to mention this earlier. The Wicked Witch gave Belle an idea to pause her pregnancy, and that's by putting her under a sleeping curse. Belle Rumple disagrees with the whole sleeping curse idea. Yeah, as long as Belle's asleep, Hades can't take the baby from her. Belle's like, I'm putting myself under a sleeping curse, and I can prick my finger before you can stop me, Rumple. Rumple disagrees with this whole idea. They're having another couple fight, over the sleeping curse. No, 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 no! I can stop Hades. I won't let that happen. Belle can't take the chance he'll stop him in time. So he's like, to make sure Hades doesn't speed up my pregnancy, I'm going under a sleeping curse. And Rumple's like, no, 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 no. I, I don't want you. You're. Are you forcing me to be the good man behind the beast so that I could just wake you up? I already told you I'm not that man. Belle even accepts that Rumple's a beast and he's evil. So, I mean, not really, but I mean, yes, he is evil, but like he's doing whatever it takes to save his child. He's being good right now, but Belle's like, Belle's like, no, 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 you're not gonna wake me up. I'm not forcing you. Everyone has agency to be good or evil. I'm not forcing you to come to the light just to wake me up. She's putting herself under a sleeping curse so her father can wake her up. And then, and and then she's like, once you destroy the contract, you do whatever it takes to get me back to my father. And Rumple again disagreeing and disagreeing, and no, 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 no. Belle finally pricks her finger, and there's nothing Rumple can do about it. So Belle is potentially asleep for the rest of the season. Knowing how the whole entire show, she actually, and this is not really a spoiler, really, but she doesn't wake up until after we start season 6. So I mean, we'll still see Belle as asleep, but we won't see her up and talking for like the rest of the season. So we won't see her talking tonight or next week, the week after. So anyway, yeah. So Belle's asleep under a sleeping curse until March. So yeah, if you love Beauty and the Beast, I'm sorry, we're gonna pot. That's the end of that story for now. But but I think that's a good thing. So we can focus on defeating Hades and ending this Hercules Greek mythology arc. um. So anyway, our next episode is called Sisters. Regina turns to Cora to get help for with Zelina. Turns to Cora for help with Zelina. So, all right, this is my favorite episode. The one we're about to watch right now is my favorite episode of the entire season, of the entire season 5. You get mother and daughter, and I was wondering if they were ever going to meet. Obviously, that was not going to be possible because Regina didn't know she had a sister until after her mother died, and Cora never mentioned her until after she died. So, yeah. Cora and the Wicked Witch have never met. And it's kind of ironic that we go to the underworld, Cora's there, and the Wicked Witch isn't. And then 5 episodes later, we bring the Wicked Witch back. She comes back from the dead so many times. And Cora's not there. But now we're gonna get both. I was wondering if that was ever gonna happen in the underworld. I was like, and this is the point where the underworld arc is coming close to an end. And I'm like, we don't have many episodes left to explore this. I'm like, please give me Cora and Zelina. Um, uh, um, what is the word I'm looking for? Not redemption, not redemption. There's another word I'm looking for. Remorse over the fact that she was abandoned and forgiveness. I love that. I love the episode because of that. As far as Charming and his evil brother, that's the other part of the episode. That's the subplot of this episode. As far as Charming and his brother and switching places and tricking each other, just like when they first arrived in the underworld and Snow White thought she was kissing her husband when she found out it was his twin brother. As much as that is, um, not as enjoyable, but I just like it. So this is my favorite episode of the entire season. I'm just ready to start now. Let me tell you the timestamp. Um, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Come on. Give me the timestamp. Give me the timestamp. So 43 minutes. So we got 43 minutes and 45 seconds if you have Disney Plus. If not, then season 5, episode 19, title Sisters. Feel free to push play, but then pause it right before it says previously on Once Upon a Time. Okay. So all right, I'm gonna give a countdown again. Don't wait until I say one. Wait until I say now. Checking comments. Hi Ben. Good. That's all. I only have one comment from my mom. Nah. All right. It'd be nice to get my missionary companions again, just like we did last week. But anyway, that's fine. All right. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Now. Belle went under a sleeping curse, of course. Snow White goes back to take care of their. Yep. 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 So Snow White went back to take care of her son while Charming stayed in the underworld. And then Wicked Witch is going on a date with Hades, and they're slumbering to Dorothy's Aunt Em, being destroyed forever. And then Cora got punished for not for unabling to for failing to get Regina to go to leave the underworld. And so, yeah, Cora is forced to be a miller's daughter, and that's what happened when we started the Underworld arc. Well, Haiti is going on a date with the devil. That is a big mistake right there, Wicked Witch. The Wicked Witch is proud that Hades built Storybrooke for her, even though it's a little decayed and the clock tower is on the center of the street. Broken. Hades is convincing the Wicked Witch that he wants to go to Storybrooke with her in the land of the living, the land of the living. And what about all his plans, his evil plans and evil schemes and temptations that he has to tempt other people? And the Wicked Witch said, and the Hades is like, I don't care about that anymore. All I want to do is be with you. Which is what a real person who was truthfully saying that would say if they were redeemed and repented. But I don't think the devil himself can be redeemed, and so therefore, whatever he says is just a temptational trick. The Wicked Witch, should just say no and walk away, obviously. Yep. So the Wicked Witch has a choice between our sister or Hades. I know things between the sisters are complicated, but it's either her or us, pretty much. Hades just proposed. Will you make chaos with me? Will you marry me and make chaos with me? Wicked Witch. I don't think you want to say yes. You don't want to be married to someone who's as evil as the devil. Regina spied on them. She knows about her date with Hades. Mirror, mirror on the wall. That's how Regina spies on you. That's kind of funny. Regina's like, Regina's like, you didn't say no, and like, which is like, well, how come I don't get any good points for not saying yes? Well, because you didn't say anything at all. That's problematic. Yeah. He's like, the next time, you know what? There won't be a next time because you'll never see Hades again. And the Wicked Witch is like, first you try to be a caring sister, now you're trying to be a caring mother. We already have someone who filled out that job. Remember? Hey, Cora. That's actually not true. We're about to get a flashback where Regina wishes she had a sister. She didn't know about her. She didn't know about the Wicked Witch until it was too late, and until she was an adult, and Cora was already dead. So her whole life she wished for a sister, and when it finally came true, she hates her to death. Sometimes you wish for siblings, and then it's not exactly what you wanted it to be. Yep, and Wicked Witch is like, you and Robin seem to work together. He used to be a bloody thief, right? Who stole from the rich and give to the poor. Mhm. But Regina thinks that's not a good enough excuse because Robin wasn't that evil. He was just stealing, that's all. And then Hades is the god of death, who's done a lot of worse things. Wicked Witch is convinced that she can change him and make him a good guy. But Regina's trying to convince her otherwise. Some people are just not redeemable. Anyone can be redeemable, but there is an exception when it comes to like the devil himself. It looks like Regina found Cora's secret wand and she opened it. It was guarded by blood magic and she is Cora's blood, so she unlocked it and is now playing with the wand. She tries to turn one and she tries to turn one of her dolls into that's not true. So all Hook wants to do is kill her. Come on, Hook. You're a hero now. Man, yep. The only thing that could probably fix a sisterly broken bond is a mother. Henry already moved on to a better place, so I mean, yeah. And that's not the Wicked Witch's father, by the way. Henry's only Regina's father. They have different fathers and one mother. I don't think Prince Jonathan ever meets his daughter. he's a he's a fake prince who yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Regina tried to turn her doll into a real human being, and that did not work. Now she's passed out, and the only way to save her life is through someone who has magic through her family, and it has to be someone who hasn't harmed her. That's a great excuse to bring the Wicked Witch into place because Cora has magic. She could try to save him. Cora has technically harmed her though, so I guess the Wicked Witch would be the only one to wake little girl kid Regina. Rumpel had a tried to have a conversation with Belle even though she's asleep. Oh, yep. Cora is forced to obey orders from Hades's employees and is is forced to keep working. Cora found a hook though. Ha ha. Cora is new knows that Hook. He knows it came from Captain Hook, and Hook planted that into her straw so that she could use it to escape. You're my fairy godmother. Is Cora's like Hook? You're my fairy godmother. No one's called me that before, but I guess I am. You mean fairy godfather because he's a boy? Wow, Cora's never been to Oz. How did she know her daughter was in Oz? She left before the tornado picked her up and took her to Oz. So it's like, how did you know she was in Oz? Maybe she did what Rumpel did. She probably had that because never she had them in season 2 in Storybrooke. She gave the Golden Globe to Rumpel. Before that, it was Cora's. So she could have dropped a piece of her blood on the Golden Globe and found out she was in Oz. So Wow, he was an abusive father. He was about to torture his own adopted daughter. Are you a good witch? The wicked. Corey, you're not a good witch. You're evil. But Cora, yeah, and everyone in Oz believes in only good witches and bad witches. There's no in betweens. So Wicked Witch is Elena's like, are you a good witch, or she doesn't even know that's her mother? My goodness, they've met before. I wonder what Barbara Hershey was thinking when she read the script. She's like, "Wait, I have another daughter? Oh yes, we was in season 3 after you died in season 2." Uh, and so yeah, she's been around for seasons, and you just haven't met her. Wow, Charming and James finally meet. This is the other thing. We have possible mother and daughter reunion coming up, but I mentioned this as well. James and Charming, evil prince versus good prince. Remember Anton who wanted to get revenge on Charming's brother? He should be in the underworld. I wish someone killed the giant because he would so love to step on this guy. I mean, he's already dead, so it wouldn't change anything. But wow. So plot twist: Cruella was really bad. Cruella was really bad at exploiting James's pain. But, plot twist, it wasn't the fact that he grew up without a mother or that the mother had to choose Charming over James. It's the part that frustrates him and revenges him the most is the fact that after he died, Charming took his place and he wasn't even the half the man he thought he was. And so James, being all evil, thinking Charming wasn't evil enough because he's a hero, was like, "You took all my glory. You don't even deserve it, and now you're gonna pay." Well, it's not his fault. It's not his fault that James got himself killed, right? James knocked Charming out and took his place. So that's what happens when you have a twin brother. They could take your place and trick you. You come home with a different. You imagine your wife coming home with a different husband and not even knowing it's a different husband. Probably sleep differently. It's not good, and you'd be like, "Hey, you're not my husband. Where's my husband?" Snow White doesn't even know they switched places because she went back to the land of the living. She's not in the underworld anymore. Emma, their daughter, doesn't even recognize that that's not her father because they're too much alike. They're gonna go find a way to defeat Hades. The Wicked Witch. Who could possibly love the devil? Yeah. She's like dating a devil. Wicked Witch is dating a devil. So Regina and Cora are having a talk, and she's like, "You know what? I thought you weren't. I'm just upset that you're still here." And he's like, "Well, I told you I wouldn't leave, not without helping my friends." And well, we already saved Hook. The only problem is now they can't find a way back because Hades put Regina's name on a tombstone. And Cora's is like, "God, I'm here to help." And she's like, Hades can leave the underworld, and if he restarts his heart with True Love's kiss, and and the Wicked Witch is the one who loves her, so Cora's willing to work with the heroes. She's being a good guy for once. She's no longer a villain. She's going to work with the heroes to, try to, you know, bring back to try to stop the Wicked Witch from falling in love with Hades. They don't even know that they're sisters. They don't even know that they're sisters. Regina and Selena, they've met before. Now, I know that's contradictory because Regina never knew she had a sister until later in life, so it's like, how did they not know they were sisters when they just or okay, they haven't mentioned they were sisters in the flashback, but, they mentioned how they never met before. I mean, you just don't recognize people when they're kids, I guess. There's actually a logical explanation of why this flashback exists and why it's not um and why it's not plot why it's not um plot contradictory. So they found a stream in the underworld that has memory potion in it, and of course snipped up a bottle and is gonna make Wicked Witch forget all about Hades. And, she between her and Regina talking about it, she's like, "I wanna give it to her. I think it's about time she met her mother." The Cora needs to meet her mother, the Wicked Witch. Cora needs to meet her daughter. It can't be Regina who gives her the memory potion. Wow. Mhm. So James knocked Charming out and locked him in the sheriff's station. He walked along the trail to find a way to defeat Hades, but then snuck the gun out of Emma's pocket and now is pointing the trigger at them and tricking them. Emma's like, "This is gross." Seen someone who looks exactly like my dad kiss Cruella de Vil. Robin shot an arrow at at James, but remember, James is dead. So even if Robin shoots an arrow at him, arrows can't kill him. He's dead already. But Robin's still alive and is only visiting the underworld. So if James pulls the trigger, then he's not a visitor anymore. He's permanently in the underworld dead. This is my favorite moment right here. So yes, everyone's in a predicament because James is about to kill them all with the gun he stole from Emma. And Cruella showed up and slapped him in the face for killing her. And obviously, Cruella still can't kill anyone, even in the underworld. So that slap in the face did not actually hurt. Yeah. Wicked Witch is getting emotional at the fact that she's finally meeting her mother. That this must be hard given the fact she abandoned you and you have like so many questions on why she did it. And the Wicked Witch opens it because she's blood related. Yeah, that's blood magic. No one can open that. Uh-oh. Cause so the magic wand that Cora kept sealed up and only people in her bloodline can open it, got kind of is a mistake because the Wicked Witch just accidentally opened it and spoiled spoiled the fact that they're sisters. I mean, we knew that, but they're not supposed to know that yet, not when they're little children. But Regina's father moved on to a better place, so Regina doesn't actually hate Cora. But Cora's playing the axe so that the Wicked Witch will believe her and know that make her think that Regina did not send Cora, even though she did. Are you really over it? Are you over the fact your mother abandoned you? Really, Selena? I mean, does Cora really mean that, or she or yeah? Selena said, "Are you actually sorry you abandoned me? Are you just saying that, or are you actually sorry?" I mean, Cora is known for being manipulative, but she didn't have her heart. Now that she has her heart, she is actually probably a good person, but it's hard to trust her. Is she actually sorry that she abandoned her? Or is she only doing this because of her and Regina's plan to get her the memory potion? Yeah, it's not just Selena either. Yeah, Selena's your unfinished business. You never mended that broken relationship between a mother and daughter. You never apologized for abandoning her. I mean, Rumble did with Bellfire. That's how he went straight to moving on. But Cora never did that with her daughter, so that's why they came to the underworld. And yeah, and Regina, she never got to say goodbye to. So that's why you need both of them. Uh huh. The Wicked Witch is like, this is all too much. I can't believe I'm finally getting an apology from my mother. Well, it's kind of sad because even though she might actually mean it, she's repenting and she might actually be sorry. It's also kind of a trick, regardless whether she's lying or not. Cora is. The Wicked Witch knew. She knew. She's like, look, I dreamt of my mother apologizing to me for so long, but in my dreams, your apology was genuine, and you never thought to, and then you never thought you tried to poison me with memory potion. She threw the water into the fire, right? Poof. She caught onto the scheme. Wicked Witch caught onto the scheme right before it was too late. So she didn't drink the potion. She didn't know. No, she's like Cora, my mother, and Regina, my sister. You never cared what happened to me. Neither of you. We're getting a big family rivalry fight here. Two brothers and a mother and two daughters fighting. That's like my family. Two boys, two girls. Mom, it's like the only thing missing is a dad. But it's like an entire family of six is fighting right now. But they're not the same family. James and Charming are different. Anyway, Cora just revealed to 10-year-old Regina and 10-year-old Wicked Witch that they're sisters. Well, that's before she's the Wicked Witch. 10-year-old Regina, 10-year-old Zelina. Of course, remember when Zelina was born? It was out of trickery and stuff. So because of this, she was, it, yeah, exactly. So Regina, so the Cora was about to marry into royalty, remember? And because she kind of got tricked sex with someone who was not royal, it kind of ruined, the prince wanting to marry her. And so if she, and having this child, having this child, having this child, would prevent her from being royal. And Cora cares about is royalty and power. All she cares about is being like a queen and royal, like Queen Elizabeth II, All she cares about is being royal and not a commoner. And keeping Zelina in the family would make her a commoner and make her lose all that she built for Regina. So, yes, the things you do to sacrifice for your children, but to sacrifice one child for the other is wrong. Just so you can become royalty, that's choosing power over children. You should sacrifice everything for your kids, even your wealth or power. And obviously Cora gives Regina and the right before telling the guards to send the Wicked Witch away and cast her out and throw her back to Oz. Uh, Cora puts a memory potion on the both of them so they won't remember that they're sisters, and that makes sense given the fact that Regina grows up not knowing that she had a sister. This ruins the plot hole of her thinking she had a sister, right? This takes away the plot hole that she always knew that she always didn't know that she had a sister until she was an adult, and so being meeting her sister as kids would contradict that plot. And so they fix it by doing a memory, obviously. And Cora's now trying to get their memories back. So because now that they're fighting, and the Wicked Witch is like, "We'll never be on the same side. Good, wicked versus evil, final battle." Right? Cora stops the fighting between these two sisters and their rivalry, and gives them their memories back because there was a time in their life that they actually loved each other, and they wanted Cora wanted to give that love back. So yeah. Cora thought any love was weakness. Without her heart, she thought love was weakness. Now, with her heart, she knows she was a fool and she was wrong. Yeah, love's not weakness. Of course, getting a redemption. Yep, Regina's stronger. She's stronger than Cora. Cora is willing to accept that she didn't raise her daughter well, and was saying that, "You got the love and strength from all the people you love, Snow White, Charming, your father, but you didn't get that love from me. I'm sorry." Regina was able to redeem herself while she was alive. Cora took all the way to death to redeem herself, so it's kinda too late. But she's trying to make up for whatever she can in the last few moments of eternity that she has left. She's already dead, I can't say life. Eternity is actually forever, so whatever little bit she has left in the show, she's trying to redeem herself. Cora is taking her apology more genuine. It's never too late, especially for family. That's a good quote. Coming from the evilest queen of hearts, uncelestial worthy person herself. She says, family, now she's probably becoming celestial worthy. But family, and with family, and it's never too late when it comes to family. It's never too late to do the right thing. So even Cora is doing that right now. She's like, I'm going to do the right thing now because I know it's never too late. And so, yes, she brought two sisters together by bringing their memories of childhood back. Like we needed that flashback. Prefer them just never meeting. We never seen Regina as a kid though, so that would be cool that we got that. Cruella can't kill anyone, so of course she can't use the gun. Charming took the gun from her. They 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 punched Charming out. They punched James out, but he's getting back up. Charming versus James. They're fighting right near the edge of the River of Lost Souls. This is stupid. Why are you doing it here? I mean, to be fair, James was threatening to kill them and throw them in the River of Lost Souls while they're still alive, so they don't even get to go to the underworld when they die. They go straight to a worse place. But anyway, before James could do anything, Charming stopped him, and now they're fighting again next to the river, so that's still dangerous. Wow, killing Charming is James's unfinished business? Really? I don't think so. Wow, it's hard to keep track of who's who. Can't tell who's who. Emma's like, "I don't know who's who. I can't use my magic." Cruella's like, "Jimmy, let's just get out of here. Skedaddle. We can't lose. We can't win." And then David's like giving you one last chance. James, wait. Let's resolve this as brothers normally do. Let's calm down. Put rivalry aside, and James chooses not to. He has a knife in his boot, and he almost stabs Charming right before falling into the river of Lost Souls. Same thing happened to Gaston. Belle threw Gaston in the river, and now Charming did. They both made a sin. They killed somebody. Well, they didn't kill somebody. He's already dead, but they sent them to worse torment. In the gospel, it's called the outer darkness. Yep, despite everything, he was your brother and you wish you could help him move on. But some people just can't. So sometimes you have to throw your sibling into a river of torment and lost souls. Sometimes they just have to go to a worse place, like hell or something. So it's kind of sad. I hope you never have to throw your brother to a place like that. We're back to Cora and her daughters. By the way, Cora does mean what she said now. After failing at giving the Wicked Witch memory potion, she's like, "Okay, I'm really sorry this time. I really am, you know? I'm sorry I gave you up, you know?" And Wicked Witch is after taking her apology genuine, she's like, "What if it's too late for me? It's never too late. It's never too late." In the real Storybook, not the Underworld, the real Storybook, when I died, yeah, we never got because Snow White killed you in an instant. We never got a chance to say goodbye to Cora. She just died right in front of us, unpreparedly. Cora never got to say goodbye to her daughter Regina. But the Wicked Witch, she never even got to say hello. She just abandoned her without a single hi. So one daughter she never said hello to because she abandoned after getting birth, and another she didn't get to say goodbye because she died before getting a chance. So one daughter is a goodbye, and another is hello. Now she has to say goodbye to both of them because she's moving on, and she doesn't care what her fate is. She deserves it. So whether that's eternal judgment to a hell-like place or a celestial heavenly-like place, she doesn't care. She'll take whatever judgment she can. But as we know through the gospel of Jesus Christ and through the atonement, I mean, you can repent still. I mean, through Christ's grace, you can be forgiven no matter how bad the sins are. So no matter how bad Cora was, even if off screen she did a lot of like rated R stuff, she could still be forgiven and repented. You never thought of it having seen her in season 2 and doing a lot of evil things, I bet you're arguing with this writer decision here to move her on to a better place because you're like, "She does not deserve that. After everything she's done, I can't believe she's moving on. She doesn't deserve this." Some fans were uncomfortable at the fact that she went to heaven, like, but you gotta remember, and, you know, nothing's still lower than the atonement. So you gotta believe even the darkest souls can be saved, except for probably Satan himself. So, yes, from the second most evil to Satan as Satan number one. Second most evil to the nicest, anyone can be redeemed. Cora moved on to heaven. Great Sunday episode, right? Especially since it's Sabbath. Even the most evilest person can repent and move forward to a better place. Charming's twin brother, on the other hand, somehow did not do that. Oh well. Not that he was too evil. He just, yep, he just couldn't repent. I mean, you have to repent. If you have a choice. If you want to stay evil, then that's what will happen to you, River of Lost Souls. But if you repent like Cora did, then anyone can be saved. Wicked Witch just barely got a mother, and she never got to spend time with her too much. And now that she's gone, not being able to say how much she loves her, Regina's like, okay, you know what? I will be a better sister for you for now on. And I think you have another love to find. Hades, go to him. Regina believes that Wicked Witch can save Hades. Regina believes that she can redeem Hades. So, so the Wicked Witch is kind of pleased to hear that from Regina and is now ready to go face Hades and try to redeem her. Redeem him. Hades is a boy. I'm sorry. Wicked Witch, who is a girl, was trying to redeem the Lord of the Underworld. Unfortunately, Hades is setting up a date, right? Hades is setting up a date for him and Zelina and Granny's, but before Wicked Witch can walk in, Rumple intervenes. Rumple, what are you doing now? You're gonna do something evil, aren't you? Yeah, remember in New York when Rumple was dying, they made a deal with the Wicked Witch to not be able to hurt her if she saved his life. So yeah, Rumple made a deal in New York that he can't hurt the Wicked Witch, which is true. But as we learned from the Wonderland show, Jafar had a partner, and Rumple does now. He might not be able to hurt the Wicked Witch, but Peter Pan can. Peter Pan and Wicked Witch have never met either. I hear you're wicked. Pan just literally said as the episode ends, I hear you're wicked, but I'm much worse. Pan claims that he's more evil than the Wicked Witch. Which, if you compare season 3, I think Neverland might be the stronger arc than the. Not, it's hard to debate because they have the time Back to the Future episode at the end, but the Wicked Witch died before that episode, so it's like if you take that episode out, maybe I think Pan was the stronger arc. I think so. They might be right about that. Obviously, no Snow Queen in the underworld. And the Queens of Darkness, have they came across the Snow Queen or Pan or the Wicked Witch? Just the Wicked Witch. So not, and then Arthur has never met these villains at all, except for the Wicked Witch. So yes, none of these villains from previous seasons have actually met in one setting before. And it's already too late for season two's Cora because I mean she just moved on to a better place. But I mean, I guess they kind of met Hades. Cora met Hades. All these villains who died met Hades, except for the Snow Queen and the ones that are still alive, like Ursula and Maleficent. But Maleficent was actually dead, and then they brought her back to life a whole season ago. So we could have saw her in the underworld if they kept her dead, but nope. I think that was good, to have a good Lily storyline, though. So yeah, so about these villain crossovers, and you don't get to see all the combinations, obviously, but some people's favorite seasons intends to be season 3, which is Peter Pan and Wicked Witch. So why not have them interact, right? You get Neverland and Oz back to back. Pan and the Wicked Witch have finally been encountered, and I wonder what the actors thought when they met each other. I'm like, hey, we were from the same season, just a half a season apart. I literally came in the episode after you left and died. Different than Cora. She died a whole season before the Wicked Witch showed up. But anyway, sorry, I'm just rambling on about villains. I'm weird, okay? I love it when villains from past seasons meet villains from later seasons. I don't know why I like it. But anyway, yes, and I'm also happy that Cora and Zelina were able to make amends and talk things out between mother and daughter. And in the end, it made Regina and the Wicked Witch better sisters by bringing their childhood memories back. So Cora did the right thing in the end, and I guess maybe that caused her that. I doubt that would redeem her of all her sins, but I guess to make the show more heart loving and family friendly, they did have to let Cora move on to a better place. Can't I mean some people went to a worse place in the show, but can't have everybody do that. When was the last time someone went to heaven? I think that was Hook's older brother. That was the last person that went to heaven. Because then we got an episode on the Wicked Witch. No one moved on. No one died. We were too focused on the Wicked Witch falling in love for Hades. And then Gaston fell in the River of Lost Souls. And M. And then now Charmy's twin brothers. So 3 people went to like a hellish place. And that's pretty violent if you're going to do that to your characters. I mean, you can't do it too much. So I'm maybe for show's sake, I'm glad Cora went to a better place. You have faith, like faith friendly. You have faith that even the darkest of villains can be redeemed. I think that's a better message than sending Cora to torment, right? Cora went to heaven. So I think even though some of you might disagree on her deserving that, well, I mean, I think that well, it's hard to argue that we don't know her whole story because we kind of do, but we don't know every minute of her life. I think she probably deserved it. I don't know. All right, but then Wicked Witch just got kidnapped by Rumple and Pam before she could try to change Hades into a good guy. So the question is, can she do that? Because in this next episode, they're going to try to leave the underworld, and this time they will succeed. Not to try to spoil the fun, but the underworld arc is coming to an end soon, so we kind of have to wrap things up. I'm very sorry if you guys love the underworld and you love seeing people go to heaven or heck. But Once Upon a Time's not about life after death. It's about fairy tales, so you can't expect us to stay here all the time. It's just for a half a season. I mean, maybe some people wish it could have lasted a whole season, and I do too. I mean, we could have had an episode on Snow White's mother. I think she could have been in the underworld. she has unfinished business. She should apologize to treating Cora badly when she was younger. Um, Another person should have saw in the underworld. Snow Queen, I think, went straight to heaven because of the her sisters. That's why we didn't see her. But I think another villain we could have saw in the underworld. Mm, Trying to think. Think all the major villains we did see. All the major villains that died, we did actually see. So I don't think there is any villain per se. Um, but maybe not any villains, but like Charming's father. We never met him. Maybe he feels bad for having to separate his two sons and give one to King George. Honestly, we could have had episodes on some of these characters. What about Johanna? Johanna from season two, Snow White's maid. That Cora threw out of the clock tower in the real storybook. We couldn't. That was back when she was evil. Some of her evil crimes. Again, you might not think she deserved to go to heaven because of that, but anyway, Johanna, we could have saw in the underworld. We could have had a whole episode on her again. But anyway, see, I bet I could come up with enough characters for the underworld arc to last a whole season. But hey, I'm not the writers, and so anyway, sometimes all you get is a half a season. So now we're gonna wrap up the underworld arc right now. Not the underworld arc. Sorry, we're gonna wrap up our time in the underworld. Hades by the end of this. So our last episode for tonight is called Firebird, and Hades is gonna make his way to Storybrooke by the end. Not to spoil, if you were expecting them to kill Hades in this episode, I'm sorry to spoil that, but we want to see them face Hades in the real world too. It's fun to try to battle against Hades in the life after death, but it's also fun to battle them here in mortality as well, because because you can actually die here, versus the underworld you can't. Um, except go to a worse place. That's probably worse than death, though. So anyway, uh, so yes, we're finally gonna get our final episode in the underworld, but it's not the end of the underworld arc since Hades is going to the land of the living next week. So don't say goodbye to the underworld. In fact, my underworld profiles will still be up because it's still the underworld arc next week. You're right. Not until Hades is dead. So anyway, but yes, this is our last time in the actual place underworld. So we're gonna watch our last episode in the actual place. Okay. So let me tell you the timestamp. Um, 43 minutes and 41 seconds if you're watching Disney Plus. Otherwise, DVD, Hulu, whatever. Um, just make sure you pause before it says previously on Once Upon a Time. Gorgeous. I got a comment from somebody. All right. Okay. So, we're gonna start our last episode for tonight. Are you ready? Wait until I say now. Okay. Don't push play when I say one. 3, 2, 1, now. Go to him. Regine, the heroes were. Yeah, Hook wasn't here. None of these heroes were here when Cora was redeeming herself, so they don't know what it's like for Regina and Zelina to be. Yes, yes. Emma's like kind of fighting. Everyone's kind of fighting at the fact Regina's letting the Wicked Witch change Hades for the better. And it's like you can't really redeem the devil. But the only reason Regina's letting her do this is that Cora brought the two sisters together to try, in a way that makes them trust each other more. And none of the other heroes were here for that. So it's like they're kind of an episode behind. They kind of missed the point of what was going on, with Cora and moving on. And so it's like Hook's right. Did I miss the part where Zelina changed? So anyway, it's hard to talk over the episode, so I'm just taking my earbud out, but feel free to continue watching. It's just sometimes I talk too loud, and, I have the bad habit of talking louder if the episode's talking louder than me. I guess I could turn down the volume, and that's what I should do, but anyway, um, so yes, and everyone's fighting at the fact Regina let her sister try to redeem Hades. But Emma's like, we will not win the war against Hades if we all fight, guys. Let's calm down. Emma tries to bring everyone together so they can stop fighting. And Hades walks in saying that the Savior has a point. Hades is actually wanting to work with these heroes. And he's gonna make it the last thing Hades wanted to do is get help from the heroes because he's like a devil himself and he doesn't want to be a good guy. But he loves Lena too much to do whatever it takes. So he's gonna work with the heroes and play the hero card, but I don't think it's gonna last. I even already talked about how we're not gonna kill Hades till next week. So much for redemption arc, right? Sorry for the spoiler there. Um Hades, like other villains, are gonna die. I mean, I guess Arthur didn't die yet. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, Hades is making a deal. He's like, if you help me save Zelina from Rumple and Pan, then I will rip up the contract. Because that's what Rumple wants, and to get the Wicked Witch back, right? I'll rip up the contract, and I promise I'll take the names off those tombstones so you guys can leave the underworld. So the deal is, if you help me save the Wicked Witch, you can leave the underworld. So Emma is willing to, and Emma's been trying to get her family home for weeks now. And so anyway, um, and so anyway, Emma's like, Emma's like, so we can leave. So Emma's like, we can leave the underworld, and Hades is like, um, so Savior, do you want to go take your family home or not? We're getting a flashback. I love this flashback right here. Emma, remember Emma when she got brought to this world by the wardrobe? She was put she was put in by a street next to a diner, and she was maybe thinking that maybe someone in the diner can knew about their parents, and as the working lady said, we can't even keep a cook for 6 weeks. People keep quitting on us because they don't like working there. And so anyway, Emma can't find anyone. It's a long time. Not everyone stays at the same job for like 20 years. This is when she's like 20 years old, you know, or something like that. And she's trying to learn more about her parents and stuff. And obviously 20 years later, no one works at the diner she was born into. So no one remembers her or knows her parents, obviously, because no one still works there 20 years ago. She ends up running into a girl named Clea Fox, and Clea Fox is a Bella Bonds person, which you could probably see where Emma got her inspirational job, right? So anyway, obviously she did the same trick on Emma Swan. Remember in the pilot when Emma went to catch a criminal and towed his car, and he's like, and she knocked him out so he can get arrested. Cleo Fox did the same thing, except she didn't get her arrested. She towed Emma's car and kidnapped her. So she's like, stop me if I'm wrong, but a girl who's skipped out of jail still watches and kick her butt out of jail, or whatever dialogue Emma said in the pilot. Cleo Fox just said, and Emma made a run for it. So Emma was once the criminal, and Cleo Fox was once the Bella Bonds person. And so now you're gonna find out how they switch places. I guess. Good flashback to see where Emma got her Belle Bonds trick from, and it's a good flashback to finding out how. Remember the red leather jacket she always wears? This flashback will also explain that. The title sequence, by the way, was Emma's bug leaving to go home. So you know this is the episode where they leave the underworld. But like the Neverland arc, they didn't leave until the end. So since they're not leaving till the end of the episode, we're still stuck with the underworld for 40 more minutes. 37, because there's 37 minutes of the episode left actually. All right, Hades comes to Granny's diner to take on Rumple's deal, rep the contract, and the Wicked Witch, and get the witch. But Once Haiti rips up the contract, obviously Pam tricks him because they always go back on their deals. Rumple and Pam do, and they end up taking the Wicked Witch's heart. But remember, it's protected by a protection spell. We learned that in the Hamlet arc when Hook tried to take her heart. So when Pan tried to take the Wicked Witch's heart, it didn't work, obviously, because she has a protection spell on it. And then Emma used her magic to defeat Hades and Pan, and not Hades and Pan, Rumple and Pan, and yeah, they saved the Wicked Witch, and the contract's ripped. So now the unborn child of Belle is safe. Wicked Witch, Wicked Witch just gave Hades true love's kiss. It broke his curse in the underworld. Now he can leave the underworld. The underworld is shaking too. So Hades. So okay, now that they ripped up the contract of Belle's unborn child, and now that everyone helped the devil. Now, see, this is weird. You would never team up with the devil, right? Ever. No matter what the circumstance was, even if it was to save a child, right? Teaming up with the devil's wrong. Christ, on the other hand, that's different. But anyway, they teamed up with the devil. He went back. He didn't go back on his word, and boom, there we go. And so, yeah, I mean, since they helped Hades save the Wicked Witch, Hades is offering them a ride home, but instead of on a boat like how we got here, we are going to use a portal jumper. We're not a magic bean though. The portal just automatically opens. So the portal's going to open. The clock tower somehow moved from the street to the graveyard, which is weird. Maybe there's two clock towers. I don't know. But anyway, tell me everything. So, if you missed what happened, obviously the portal by the clock tower did not work open yet. Clock did not turn into a portal yet. But in the meantime, Emma tried to split her heart in half, and she almost died doing it because it didn't work. And so they put the full heart back in Emma. And the thing is the reason why it worked for the Charmings is because they were only dead for like a minute or so, maybe less, is how Regina put it. And Hades is like, aha, that I didn't recall. When you put when you saved Charming's life, it was only a few minutes, you know, Hook's been dead for way too long. And been dead for a half a season even. And so anyway, so Hook's been dead for too long, and even if you could go back to the real world to regather his dead body, a body stinks after weeks, and since they've been in the underworld for months, I bet no one can stomach the smell of a dead body, right? So nope, it's not worth it. You might as well leave Hook in the underworld. But then Emma knows when someone's lying, and he knows that Hades was lying about something, and so Hades brought up the truth that there is a way to bring someone back from the dead, but it was a long time ago, and there's no telling if it actually worked. And Emma's like, "Tell me everything," and that's how that scene ended. Now we're back in the flashback where Emma tries to escape Cleo Fox's apartment, but on her way out of escaping those handcuffs, because remember she dated a guy who picked locks, right? So she knows how to escape. But anyway, she found the website. She found a website on the internet that allows her to look up her parents, and so anyway, wasn't successful. But Cleo Fox came out of the shower and she's wondering why Emma didn't leave, obviously, but Emma's willing to stay and help her do something if they make a deal. "Hey, if you help me find out who my parents are, I'll go quietly all the way to Phoenix." So, because I guess Cleo Fox needs to go to Phoenix to do something. I don't know what her business is, but if she needs Emma's help, Emma's willing to help. It's like with a criminal who kidnaps you and threaten to kill your life if you don't do what they say. They're like, "Hey, look, if you need help with something and the criminal is gonna threaten to kill you, he's like, look, if you help me with this, I promise I'll go quietly all the way to Phoenix or whatever you want me to do." And then therefore, they don't have to point a gun. Now, obviously, they can choose not to trust you because you can trick them, but it's way rare for a cop or a criminal to take on your deal to help you find your parents and then, you promising to go with them to do their business. So Emma and Hook are about to go on a quest. So Hades just revealed the story of two people who went to the underworld and they were going to try to eat the the fruit of life basically, like you remember the ignology in the scriptures about the tree of life and the fruit, like the gospel. In a similar event, there is a magical tree with fruit that gives you everlasting life, and you have to be worthy to eat the fruit. And so there's a little test to see if your love is strong, and if you pass, then you get to partake of the fruit. Like of the tree of life, basically. And if not, you perish to a fate worse than death, obviously. Anyway, but it was the obviously with the heart not working now, that's the only way Emma and Hook could go back to the real world alive, to the world of the living. Anyway, I'm glad we're getting more Pan in this episode because just like Korra, we haven't seen him since the very first Underworld episode. So yeah. So um to do this love test really quick, Emma has to take her own heart out without magic, and since she can't use her magic, Hades does it for her. And Emma's like, "Let this be the last time we do this," because she's tired of pulling her heart out. And she's like, Hades is like just trying to help. And Hook is like, "We're going to the most dangerous place in hell where even the devil's afraid to go to." And the Wicked Witch is trying to reassure him, assuming that Hades redeemed himself to be a good guy. He's like, "Not hell and not the devil. Don't use those two words. It might be worse than hell, but like, don't use the word when trying to say that," is what the Wicked Witch is trying to say. And I think that's true. I should try not using it either, but it's hard to say other words. I can't think of other words to describe hell. Outer darkness, I guess I could say. Celestial kingdom, I guess, but this is not related to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so I'm trying to say a word that relates to it. So anyway, Peter Pan made a deal with Rumple while I was talking about Emma and Hook, and he's like, "Hey, look, you didn't give me a heart because Rumple was supposed to give the Wicked Witch her heart. Rumple was supposed to give Peter Pan the Wicked Witch's heart, but since she had a protection spell on it and it didn't work, Pan's kind of upset, and she's like, "Hey, where's the heart you promised me?" And Rumple's like, it's always wanting it for himself, always knowing what's in it for himself, blah blah blah. And Pan's like, there is something in it for you. Pandora's box, the one that trapped Pan and Rumple inside. Um, he's like, you could put Belle in here, trap her safe in here, and then leave the underworld, or you could take her with you, or you could both miss out and miss that portal home that closes at sunset. The portal opens and closes at sunset. And sunset doesn't last very long. It's only like a few minutes, so you gotta hurry. Rumple has a choice: either give Pan a heart or be stuck in the underworld. Because Pan just wants to be alive again. But anyway, Rumple's trying to find a loophole so his father doesn't have to come with him. Now, Robin is kind of frustrated because again, yeah, Regina's different since she felt since she got her childhood memories back. Regina's been acting a little different since Cora moving on to a better place, and no one was here to see that. So they're all behind. They're all behind, and they don't understand. They're all behind on Regina and Zelina's character growth, and so they're like, "Why are you trusting the Wicked Witch?" Honestly. And Robin's even more frustrated because he wasn't here at the beginning of this episode where they had to help Hades save her. And so he's like, give our baby to Zelina, the Wicked Witch. And so Regina and Robin doesn't trust Regina. I mean, doesn't trust the Wicked Witch. Regina's like, trust me. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't best for your daughter. And Robin's like, fine, fine, I'll give my daughter to the Wicked Witch. It's kind of it offends Robin knowing that it's his child and he doesn't want the Wicked Witch a part of it. But it's hard to share custody when you have two separate parents that are not married. Mhm. I can't even say divorce because the Wicked Witch and Robin never got married in the first place. That just was a trick, anyway. Trick of her disguising as Marion. So anyway, so it's complicated how they share a child, but yet they never intentionally together, just by accident. Oh my goodness, messy relationships, messy complications. So yes, now that Regina has changed for the better on trusting her sister and helping Cora move on, involves it kind of messes up it kind of messes up Regina and Robin's relationship a little bit. So yes, Emma and Hook are in the dangerous place. Okay. Funny how she said that. So Cleo Fox is acting like a Bonds person criminal. Um, she makes a deal with Emma, right? And she goes to find out about her parents. When they pull out the file, there's nothing in there except for the boy that found her on the road or something, right? Which is a lie because he can't tell the truth. where she actually found him by inside a tree. But anyway, anyway, wow. So yeah, yeah. Again, Emma did not find what she was looking for on her parents. She wanted to look for herself, but then she was threatened to be called by security to arrest her. And Cleo Fox is like, "You're going with me to Arizona, I kept my end of the deal, you're gonna keep yours. Even if you didn't find out about your parents, doesn't matter. You're gonna go with me to Arizona. You know? It's Arizona, it's not heck." That's what she said. I thought that was funny given the fact we were kind of in a hellish underworld for the present. Anyway, but yeah, so what just happened? Cruella just trapped everyone in the underworld. She wants to take over the underworld now that Hades is gone and is going to the living world. And so Truella's kiss kind of helped him escape. Cruella wants to take over. Anytime she will try to resolve her unfinished business, it won't take her to a better place. So Cruella just wants to stay in the underworld because she knows the only place she's going to get without redemption and repentance is outer darkness, eternal torment. So she doesn't want to leave the underworld because of that. And so anyway, and what's funny is that the heroes are not going to let Cruella ruin these people, obviously. But you know, Cruella also can't kill anyone. So what's the harm? She can't really ruin anyone at all. But anyway, yes, Regina acknowledged that and was like, you don't have the only magic you have is to make a dog roll over and beg. You don't have really anything else. And Quilla does not have the magic. But the blind witch does. The blind witch has magic. She could trap everyone inside the clock tower library. Um. So yeah, and I noticed. I think the clock tower was not there. Like it never had. Like it's obviously not on the clock. It's not on the library, but like it's not on the road. So I think Hades did move it to the graveyard site. I don't think there is two. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll look at it again. I don't know. Wait, let me see. Keep watching. I'm not gonna pause the episode. I'm just gonna look. Yeah, there's no clock tower. On my screen when I watch an episode without rewinding, I could just put my arrow cursor right above the blue line of that shows how much of the episode we watched, and it will show me what part I'm touching without ruining where we're at in the actual episode. Yeah, there is no clock tower there, and Hades did move it to the graveyard, so there's not two. Anyway, so yes, Regina's trying to use her magic to undo the blind witch's spell of trapping them inside the clock. And there is no clock. Sorry, it's the clock tower, but inside but there is no clock there, so they're actually just trapped in the library. I'm used to the real story, Brooke. Anyway, so yes, the blind witch used the spell to trap everyone in the library, and Regina's trying to use her magic to get them out. But anyway, Hook and Emma just passed the test. Um, right scale, Hook was being tormented by fire. Emma had to choose between Hook or her heart, and she ended up choosing Hook, and she passed. So she's not going to face eternal torment. She's not going to face hell like. damage. She's gonna get the tree of life fruit. Woohoo! She passed the test by choosing Hook over her heart. That was smart. Emma in the flashback, when she's only like 20 years old, is breaking into the um is breaking into the the what is this place called? The police system? No, not the police station. It's where do you go to where do you go to find information on your parents? I don't know. It's not family search. Trying to think. Government. It's a government place where you can find out about your parents. So anyway, Cleo Fox. Cleo. So Emma broke into the come out with your hands up. Yep. Cleo Fox. So Emma, yeah, no, she broke into the family services center and tried to find her file about her parents. Didn't find anything as usual. And then Cleo Fox caught her, and Emma thought it was a police officer. She was going to knock him out with a pole, but then Cleo Fox stopped her and convinced her that her parents had good reasons of giving her up. But what good is that going to do if you find out why? They would want to focus on the present. If your parents give you up and leave no trace on who they are, you should focus on what you got now, the family you got now, not the one you lost in the past. So So anyway, Cleo Fox comes to save Emma from the family services center, and obviously the police show up because they broke in, and they say hands out, hands over your head, right? But obviously, luckily, the girls take a back way entrance and take a escape, so the police don't arrest them. They they break through a broken window and run away. So Hook and Emma went to the Tree of Life and found out it was cut down and destroyed, and found out that Hades did it a long time ago. So why did he lie about it? He doesn't want them leaving the underworld. Plot twist, plot twist. He's not redeemable, all right? Anyway, then Regina just found out because the blind witch's spells are always half baked. They always are half spelled. They don't always work. Um, they almost never work. So Regina should have enough magic to break her spell that traps them in the underworld. But it's not her spell because obviously Regina can't break it. They're still stuck in the library. And so anyway, they just found out the spell actually came from Hades, and so Hades wants to trap the people in the library and trap Emma and Hook in the worst place in heck. And so anyway, Hades doesn't want them to go to Storybrooke. So you see, he's still a villain. The Wicked Witch not knowing this, and the portal just opening right now at the moment of 15 minutes before the episode ends. Hades is like, oh, don't worry, they'll get here in time. We'll just wait for them in Storybrooke. And it just takes Hades' word for it, thinking that he's good and redeemed. This is what the devil does. Sometimes his tactic is to play the good guy just so you could trust him, and then you end up getting trapped and tricked. I mean, in the scriptures, I see him actually up forward about him being, evil. I never seen a story where he pretends to be like Christ or something. So it's like I don't. Maybe that is not Satan's tactic, but it is a good tactic. If you're a devil, a good tactic would be playing the good guy and having people trust you until it's too late. So yeah, Zelina's the only one who is not realizing that Hades is still evil. And so then Emma and Hook realize they're running out of time, so they were just trying to escape the worst place in heck. And then and we're back in the flashback where we find out that the broken window that Emma and Cleo Fox just jumped out of had glass, right? And Cleo Fox accidentally cut herself in the stomach, so she's dying. So they're on the side of a street in the side of an alley, and Cleo Fox is dying. Emma was about to get the police to help her and save her life, and from the cut of the stomach. And unfortunately, that would only get her to go to jail again. Remember, she was in jail when Henry was born. She would have only gone to jail again if she would have gotten Cleo Fox some ambulance help. So yes, Cleo Fox willing to sacrifice her life for Emma. Cleo Fox willing to, sorry, that episode's just too loud. Cleo Fox willing to sacrifice her life for Emma. She's like, no, 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 don't let the police catch you here. I mean, the right thing to do would be to turn yourself in and let the cops arrest you. Obviously. But with Emma being a criminal, in the life of a criminal, the right thing to do is just to run and escape. Well, I guess. So Emma runs off, even though she really badly treated Cleo Fox like a mother. She was like a mother figure in a way. Because again, we just found out that Cleo Fox did the same thing as Snowy and Charming did. Cleo Fox gave up her child, and her 10-year-old daughter from across the street that she took 10 years ago. So she's like 20 now. Um, she has no idea who she is. She has no idea who her biological mother is. So it's kind of cool. You have Emma, who's a daughter trying to find out about her parents, and then you have Cleo Fox, who's a parent trying to avoid her daughter. So you have two people from the opposite sides of the situation, and Emma Goss is through Cleo Fox. Kind of gets to see, what kind of gets the feeling of her parents giving her up and finding out why. But obviously, the reasons Snow White and Charming gave up Emma are not the same reasons Cleo Fox gave up her child. It's different, but in a way, Emma could relate to her. Having been the one abandoned, and Cleo Fox having the one giving up a child. And so anyway, Cleo Fox just dies on the side of a road, and Emma just chooses to leave her there because she doesn't want to go to jail. As much as she wants to save her life, she doesn't want to go to jail, so she chooses her own safety over saving Cleo Fox's life. It's kind of sad. Emma runs, and that almost wraps up the flashback. Emma and Hook find a way out of the worst place in the underworld in the present day, and Emma and Hook is saying goodbye. No, bye, Emma and Hook. Goodbye. So it looks like, since the tree of life is destroyed and there's no fruit to partake of, and they keep fight. This is so sad. First, they try to find a way out of the underworld, and they get stuck when Hades puts their names on a tombstone. Then Hades pretends to play the hero card, takes their name off the tombstone, and then even though, but then the heart split still doesn't work, and so he sends them in the worst place in heck. She sends them in the worst place of heck, and to send them on a quest for the tree of life, only to lie to them and to say that he actually destroyed it a long time ago. And sadly, yeah, it's very, very sad. Emma and Hook, Hades wasted all their time of making Emma and Hook go to the worst place in hell, and going to try to save Hook's life, and getting the fruit of life, and only to find out that Hades destroyed it a long time ago, and someone else did the same thing. And so anyway, that comes to show that Hades is still a villain, and only played the hero card just to trick him. And so it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad because now Emma and Hook can't go back to the land of the living together, and Emma has to say her final goodbye. Honestly, they had more time than they were meant to, because when Emma was supposed to say goodbye was when he got stabbed by Excalibur, right? But she couldn't learn her lesson to accept loss, and she turned Hook into a dark one. And then even when he killed himself a second time, from immortality to death, Emma still couldn't say goodbye and made the mistake of going to the underworld. And see, we learn in the long run that Hook was meant to die and meant to move on, and so he's not meant to be alive. Sometimes when someone dies, you have to accept it as a part of life and know that you will see them again in the next. You can't just keep trying to bring their life back. Anyway, so Emma, throughout this entire season 5, has learned that lesson the hard way, having saved Hook's life 3 times and it didn't work. So yes, Emma and Hook said their final goodbye. And if you were so into their couple relationship, Emma Swan, Captain Swan, I know you're probably heartbroken because you were expecting Emma and Hook to stay together by the end of the series. Every person Emma falls in love with, Neil, Hook, Graham, and Walsh, they all died. Every time Emma falls in love, they die. In the flashback, Emma finds Cleo Fox's daughter and reveals her daughter, her biological mother. It's kind of sad. Yep, Emma becomes a Belle Bonds person. Emma's kind of sad because as much as it was nice to because Cleo Fox is dead, she can't reunite her daughter with her mother. But she spent time with her and had pictures, right? And Cleo Fox, not knowing her biological mom, Emma comes up to her, revealing her biological mom, and Cleo Fox was kind of sad. Cleo Fox, not Cleo Fox. Cleo Fox's daughter was kind of sad, knowing that her mother died and was still grateful for all the photos and information Emma gave her. But you imagine you're a child who lost their parents when you were born, and you have no idea who they are, and you help another child learn about their parents. It's kind of unfair, isn't it? But little does Emma know, because it said in that last little bit of a flashback, it said 2010. Little does Emma know that a year later, Henry's going to knock on her door and bring her to her parents anyway. So Emma just needs to hold on hope and faith a little longer, right? Because the events of the pilot are just a year from that flashback. we pretty much have a we pretty much got so many flashbacks over the seasons. We even got one up to the pilot, so that's kind of crazy. Anyway, and then now we saw Emma come out of the elevator, sad that she can't bring Hook back with her, and Regina and Hook leaving Emma with one last wish to make sure she gets out of the underworld alive. Regina and the heroes decide to honor Hook's wish by going out of the underworld before the portal closes and just leaving Hook there to move on. So, and obviously, Operation Firebird's not over. There are so many people we need to help move on. And so, since they can't stay in the underworld to help these people move on to a better heaven, Henry leaves the book of their unfinished businesses so that people can find them and resolve their business so that they can move on. So now they don't need the heroes in the underworld to help them move on because they have Henry's book that he made for them. So that's kind of nice. So, plot twist. Emma and Regina together used both of their magic to defeat Hades' spell, and they are finally getting gonna leave the underworld. But Rumple, on the other hand, took Robin Hood's heart, as you saw, but off camera, he gave his heart back to Robin Hood and took a river and magically, without touching the water, took a heart from the River of Lost Souls. No, no, no. Yeah, he took a heart. Well, you can't do that. Never mind, never mind. Rumple planted a fake heart with water from the River of Lost Souls because he didn't take any living heart. Everyone, knowing how this episode plays out, everyone returns back from the underworld that's alive. So actually, I lied. I lied. So no, no. So yeah, he put Robin's heart back into his chest, back into Robin's chest. But he made a fake heart and put River Lost Soul water in it, so that when Pam put it into his body, he would touch the River Lost Souls and become a lost soul. So now Pan has suffered a torment worse than death. He's now in a hellish place, you know. And Rumple's like, "Goodbye, Papa. We're good this time, right?" Because the last time he killed his father, he said, "I'm a villain, and villains don't get happy endings." But then little did we know we were going to get an underworld arc, right? And now it's funny because Pan was the first half a season arc. He's also part of the last half a season arc because this is our last half a season, so it's kind of cool. Pan was the start at this trend, and now he's at the end of it. And now we're saying goodbye to him for good because he's in a place worse than death. And so we're never gonna see Pan in the show ever again. So I hope you said your final goodbye to Pan. We are done seeing dead people from the show. Anyone who dies from here on out, we won't see because we're done with the underworld, pretty much. Not the arc itself, but underworld. Rumpel has made it through the portal back to the land of the living, and same with everyone else. It's just Emma and Hook left. Emma, go in there. Emma, go in there before the portal, or you'll be trapped in the underworld again. Don't worry, she'll go through. I know it's kind of scary. I was intense. I was like, "Oh no, don't leave us on a cliffhanger. Don't tell me she's gonna be stuck here." She's not. She's not. Emma goes to the portal, saying goodbye to Captain Hook for good. And the portal closes as soon as she enters. Perfect timing. If she waited a second longer, she would have been stuck in the underworld. Time changes from 8:15 to 8:16, just like it did at the beginning of the arc, and that wraps the underworld. They all just left. Okay, that wraps up our night. Man, I can't believe we're saying goodbye to the underworld so quickly. But we're Hades made it to Storybrooke, so we're not done yet. Anyway, all right. Well, guys, woo, what a night! What a night! What a night! Okay, hang on. We got 9 minutes left of this live stream. I'm just waiting for the credits to finish, like I do every time we finish our last episode. All right, so what just happened there? So yes, obviously Emma found Cleo Fox's daughter and wanted to give her things to remember her mother by. But Emma doesn't have anything to know about her parents, so it's still kind of sad. But now that we know who she really is, and she's the daughter of a fairy tale character, we know that she eventually gets to find her parents when the curse breaks, right? So the story comes full circle with Emma being an orphan, Anyway, Anyway, but yes, after that, Rumpel finds a loophole to get rid of his father because he doesn't want his father to come to the real world with him. And so he plants a fake heart, puts it in Pan, and which ends up destroying him for good. So I mean, Pan still exists. Keep in mind, he still exists. He's just in a place worse. He's in a worser place, a place worse than pretty much hell, pretty much. And the show's not going to show us that because it's family friendly. Anyway, that is the end of Peter Pan for good. What was funny is we started this underworld arc being so excited to see people we haven't seen since their death on the show, but you can only see them for so long. Once they move on to a better place, they're now permanently gone from the show. I mean, except maybe flashbacks, but but before the underworld, I was like, don't worry, we might see these characters in flashbacks hiding the fact that they're going to go to the underworld because I knew that was going to happen. I just didn't want to tell you guys, and I was going to surprise you, being like, haha, I lied. We're going to see them in the present storyline. Now that we're wrapping up the underworld arc pretty shortly next week. And that's completely it. They're not going to go to a worse place worse than a place worse than the underworld. They're not going to do that, and they're not going to go. And as much as it would be cool to see Mount Olympus in heaven, they're not going to show us that either. So anyway, this is not me just trying to hide it, but for everyone you just saw in the underworld just now, you're now definitely not going to see them in the present storyline. This time, I'm telling the truth. It's hard to know because I try not to spoil anything. I invite people who've never seen the show to join me in this marathon too. So it's like, for those who know, you know. Anyway, but it's not the end of the underworld, and don't reveal plot points because I know I'm acting like I'm acting like, oh yeah, this is our last time of Captain Hook, blah blah blah. Okay, that's might not be true. We might actually get to see. I'm not going to spoil much, but we're going to see Hook move on next week. So yes, I lied a little bit. You know how once upon a time every single episode has a flashback? The next episode we're not getting a flashback. We're getting Hook's journey to moving on in the underworld. So next week, when we watch Once Upon a Time, our first episode, our present storyline is going to be all in Storybrooke. No more underworld, right? We just barely left. Just as when we finished the Neverland arc, when we watched the first 3 episodes, then we watched 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9. At the end of episode 9, the ship just barely passed the second star to the right, right? and it ended right before they got to Storybrooke. And then the next episode following, they were in Storybrooke. That's exactly how this played out. They just went straight through the portal. The minute we start the next episode, the minute we're in Storybrooke, and we're no longer in the place of death. But with the exception that we're gonna watch Hook move on. So Hook is still gonna be in one more episode, and for anyone who's calling me a liar, I'm just trying not to spoil for the new fans, okay? And I technically just did by saying I'm a liar. No, yes, Hook's coming back. I'm so sorry. I should only I should only keep that between me and the people who have seen the show. But anyway, yes, we're not just gonna leave it with Emma saying goodbye. We're gonna actually watch Hook move on. That's gonna be that's gonna replace our flashback. So there's no real flashback for the next episode. And lately in the past few seasons, we never got flashbacks for the season finale either. Except maybe for one scene, And so anyway, and this is another two-parter as well. So next week, keep in mind that we're gonna watch an episode that's 2 episodes long, and it's a long finale. So anyway, because streaming service cuts it in half when we watch the episode next week, make sure you have 2 Disney Plus or Hulu tabs up, because I want to make sure we start the episodes back to back as if they were one episode. So anyway, that also includes skipping the recap on part 2, but for all the other episodes, we don't do that. So next week we will get to actually get to see Hook move on. So we get episode that's half that we get. Flashbacks usually cover like half the episode, and then the other half's in the present. So you can say we get half of our episode in the Underworld and half of it in Storybrooke. So anyway, so that will be nice if you're sick and tired of the Underworld, right? You just want to see it one more time to see Hook move on. So again, I guess we're not saying goodbye to all the dead people, really. I guess we'll see them one more time as we watch Hook move on. But as far as all the other heroes, they just left. They say goodbye. So that's it. But anyway, yes, we're done with the Underworld. But we're not done with the Underworld arc, because Hades is now in this life. And he's going to cause havoc in the real world, This time, it's more dangerous because in the Underworld, you can't kill people because they're already dead. This time, he's in the land of the living, so he can kill people. So this is more scarier. All right. So we're going to find out how they defeat Hades. And I can't wait to wrap up the season next week. But anyway, again, it's only 9:27. But one last thing I want to point out, as everyone was jumping in the portal, and again, Rumpel destroyed his father once and for all. He put Belle in the Pandora's box, right? The box that traps all evil. Belle's not evil, but he can't carry Belle to the portal. She's too heavy, so she traps Belle in the box, and then obviously he walks through the portal. Anyway, the heroes rush in right after him. Everyone jumps in the portal, but Emma's having a flashback memory of Cleo Fox, and we watched in the flashback when she was showing her Cleo Fox's daughter memories of her mother. We saw her buy a jacket, that looks exactly like the red one she wore in the pilot. So anyway, it's just kind of setting things up for how the show started in the first place, pretty much. But a year earlier, right? We know how Emma got the jacket. We know how she became a bail bonds person. So we pretty much have all of Emma's story fulfilled. She went from running away from foster home to being a criminal, and then now being on the police force and being a bail bonds person, kind of. Anyway, so yeah. That's kind of cool. But yes, Emma takes one last look at the memory, because she remembered what it was like to lose Cleo Fox, and she feels the same way with Captain Hook, except even worse. Because Cleo Fox was just like a mother to her, but she loves Captain Hook like marriage-wise. That should be stronger than parent bond. And so anyway, she has a hard time letting Hook go. And Charming, knowing that she hesitates to jump through the portal, she's like, "You did your best for Hook." And I'm like, I know I did, but I can't risk losing anyone else. Let's go, She was telling Charming about how she got the jacket, and she's like, "This was a reminder. This jacket was a reminder to protect those I love, and nothing's more important, And she's like, "Well, now after losing Hook, I just hope I don't have to lose anyone else." And so anyway, the next person she possibly could fall in love with, she's like, I'm not gonna lose anyone else, ever again. And which is evil, because that means if they die, she's going to turn them into a dark one. She never learns her lesson. Just kidding. She probably doesn't mean that. But she's really hoping that she doesn't have to face any more trials, basically what she's saying. And so anyway, Charming, respecting the knowledge that she's gained from the underworld, goes through the portal, trying to pull her with her, trying to pull her with him. But obviously Emma lets go to just look at look at the underworld one last time. I honestly that's I've seen shows do this before where the portal shuts on them last second. They should have just jumped through. Um, that didn't happen here. Honestly, I really thought they were gonna leave Emma in the underworld. I'm like, get in the portal. I'm worried they're gonna leave her. This is gonna upset me if they do, because then the heroes have to go back to the underworld and get her. They spent a whole half a season trying to get Hook back. It's not worth making another half a season arc on the underworld. I'm tired of the place. I remember, well, I wasn't fully tired. I was sad we didn't see some dead people, but that died in the show. But like, I was like, oh no, they're gonna trap her in the underworld. I've seen it happen before. I mean, it's not that I don't like it, but it's like, man, please don't do this on me, right? I was just in the mood of saying that. The portal closes. The portal luckily doesn't close until after Emma walks through. We see the portal close the second after she walks through. So yes, if she waited a second longer, she would have been trapped, and she would have regretted it and confessed that she didn't mean to, and the heroes would try to find a way to get her back. But luckily, we're not going that route. We're not going to follow the plot of trying to save Emma. We already saved Hook. We don't need to save Emma again. We saved her from the darkness in the first half. Remember, we don't need to save her again from the underworld. So luckily, the writers didn't pull that twist on us. I felt like it was coming, and then luckily, my resolvement was resolved, and luckily I was wrong when she actually did go through the portal, and finally shut after she went through. So I'm glad no one's stuck in the underworld anymore. No one is. Everyone's back. And then obviously we saw the clock move from 8:15 to 8:16 when they first went to the underworld, and they helped Regina's father move on. It moved from 8:15 to 8:16. And then it moved from 8:15 to 8:16 again as everyone left. So boom. The underworld is sparking a lot of hope. Every minute passes, right? And so every time a minute passes. So yes, now with Hades gone, except you have Cruella and the Blind Witch, but take care of them, and then guess what? There's more hope in the underworld, and there's no villain to stop you from having that hope. So, all right, I'm done talking now. I'm done. That wraps up our night. We are 2 minutes over time. I remember when it was 9:27. I just wanted to talk about the end of the episode where Emma was going through the portal and hesitated. I spent 5 minutes on that. I actually stopped at 9:30, but I was repeating myself a few times because I was trying to say something. I was trying to word it in a way that sounded powerful, and I struggled with my words. So I'm sorry I wasted 2 minutes on struggling with my words. We're on to wasting 3 minutes now, so I'm going to just stop the episode. Live stream now. But anyway, all I'm going to say, oh, we got comments. Dang it, I should have read the comment section. We have, yay, I like that. I like this. Hook and Emma storyline is symbolic in it. One thing I like, well, once upon a time, is watching the growth in the characters and themes of redemption, repentance, and change of. I agree. Focus on the blessings and good things you have now. I like what you said. Sometimes it's hard to know to trust when good seems evil and evil seems good. Okay, those comments are all from my grandma. Anyway, all right. Now I'm gonna really end the live stream because I guess I should have looked at the comments, but now we're almost 4 minutes over time. So yeah, let's end the live stream. God be with you till we meet again. See you next week for the last 3 episodes. Well, last 2 episodes, 3 because it's 2 episodes long, the season finale. But anyway, we're gonna finish the season next week. Last Underworld night. Not Underworld. We're not gonna be in the Underworld too much, but like last, Underworld arc. We're gonna wrap it all up. Defeat Hades, kill him, everything. Underworld's gonna wrap up next week. So until then, I'll say it one more time. God be with you till we meet again. I'm gonna end both live streams with saying goodbye only once. All right. I'm gonna I'll try to end them both at the same time, but that's kind of hard. But YouTube, enjoy 10 more seconds of silence, while Facebook, I'm ending this right now. Bye, y'all.